I still remember how cold the house felt that Christmas morning. Not the weather, the air inside. I tried to warm it up anyway. I plugged in the old string lights, even though half of them flickered. I set the table with the red plates we used when I was a kid. I even put a tiny wreath in the center, hoping it would make the room feel less empty. When I heard my parents walking downstairs, I forced myself to smile. "Morning," I said, trying to sound normal. My mother didn't answer. She walked right past me, her slippers sliding across the floor like I wasn't even there. My father followed her, silent as always. He glanced at the table, but said nothing. I cleared my throat. "I made breakfast. It's not much, but it's Christmas." My mother finally looked at me, but it wasn't the look I hoped for. "Why are you trying so hard?" she asked as she opened a cabinet. "You know we don't do this anymore." "It's Christmas," I repeated. We used to do many things," she cut in. "That doesn't mean we still want to." Her words stung, but I tried to laugh it off. We could still eat together. Just for today. My father poured himself coffee and sat down without a word. My mother leaned on the counter instead of joining him. She crossed her arms. "Christmas is for happy people," she said. "You don't belong in that group." The words hit me harder than I expected. I opened my mouth to say something, but my father's spoon clinked against his mug, and the sound made my throat tighten. "Dad," I asked quietly, "do you want to eat with me?" He didn't even look at me when he muttered, "Not right now." My phone buzzed in my pocket. I stepped away from the table and checked it. It was a text from Daniel. "You good? I know today's rough for you." I typed back quickly. "I'm fine. Just trying to get through breakfast." Almost immediately he replied, "You wanted to come over?" I glanced toward my parents. My mother had already turned her back on me. My father was drinking his coffee like I wasn't standing right there. I typed again. "No, it's okay. I'll be fine." I slipped my phone away and tried one more time. "We don't have to do gifts," I said. "I just want us to sit together for a little bit." My mother sighed loudly. "Why do you always make things difficult?" "I'm not trying to," I said. "I just thought maybe we could." "You thought wrong." She grabbed her coat. "I'm going to the store. This house is suffocating." My father stood up and followed her. He didn't even look back at me. The door clicked shut behind them, and the silence that filled the house felt heavier than before. I sank into a chair and stared at the plates I'd set out. The wreath looked stupid now, like a decoration used for a party no one came to. I rubbed my eyes and tried to breathe. My phone buzzed again. Daniel this time called instead of texting. I answered quietly. "Hey, you don't sound fine," he said. "What's going on?" "They left," I whispered. "I tried to get us to eat together. They just walked out." "Dude," he said softly, "I'm coming over." "You don't have to," I said quickly. "It's Christmas. Be with your family." "I am," he said. "I'm talking to you, aren't I?" That almost made me laugh, but the sound caught in my throat. "I'll be okay," I said. "Really? You always say that," he replied. "And it's never true. I just don't want to ruin your day." "You're not ruining anything," he said. "They are." I didn't answer. I didn't trust my voice. The silence stretched until he spoke again. "Do you want to come to my place?" My mom made way too much food. "I don't want to show up looking like I've been crying," I said, wiping my face. "So wash your face," he replied. "Problem solved." I shook my head. "I should stay here. Maybe they'll come back." "And then what?" he asked. "You'll try again and get crushed again? You don't deserve that." "I know," I whispered, though I didn't fully believe it. "You can't keep waiting for them to change," Daniel said. "They won't." I stared at the empty chairs at the table. "They're my parents. And I keep thinking maybe if I try harder." "No," he said firmly. "Stop blaming yourself." The certainty in his voice made something inside me loosen, just a little. "Maybe next Christmas will be better," I said quietly, more to myself than to him. There was a long pause. "I hope so," he said. "But you deserve better now." I hung up and looked around the room one more time. The lights flickered again, weak and tired, like they were giving up. I didn't know it then, but that was the last Christmas I would ever spend in that house. And I had no idea how much worse things were about to get. I got the letter 1 week after Christmas, and at first I thought it was junk mail. The envelope was stiff, heavy, and printed with a law firm name I didn't recognize. I remember standing in my tiny kitchen, staring at it like it might bite me. Probably a mistake, I told myself. No way this is about me. But my hands were already shaking when I tore it open. Inside was a clean white document, full of formal language I could barely understand. At the top, Harding and Cole, attorneys at law. At the center, my name. And beneath it, words that made my stomach twist. This letter is to inform you that Mark and Evelyn have chosen to terminate all legal and financial connections with you. I whispered what, like saying it out loud, might change the meaning. I read the lines again and again. Each time the same message punched me in the chest. They removed me from their will, their financial accounts, their medical proxies, their estate, everything, every tie that connected me to them, gone. And the worst part? Their signatures weren't even handwritten, just digital stamps. No note, no explanation, nothing. I muttered. The room felt smaller. My breath came fast. I grabbed my phone and called my mother. Straight to voicemail. I tried my father. Same thing. I tried again and again. On the fourth try, I said, "Pick up, please. Just tell me this is wrong." Nothing. I grabbed my keys, threw on a jacket, and got in my car. The drive to their house felt unreal, like I was watching someone else behind the wheel. When I pulled up to the house, the windows were dark. I knocked on the door. No answer. I rang the bell. Silence. "Mom," I called. "Dad, it's me. Can you just open the door?" The only reply was the wind moving across the porch. I knocked harder. "Please, I just want to talk." A neighbor stepped outside to get his mail. He looked at me, then quickly looked away and went back inside, like I was something dangerous he needed to avoid. My chest ached. I tried the doorknob, even though I knew it would be locked. I stepped back and stared at the home I grew up in, the place where I learned to ride a bike, where I lost my first tooth, when my father taught me how to tie a tie. Now it felt like a stranger's house. Or worse, like a place that had erased me on purpose. I whispered, "What did I do? What did I do that was so unforgivable?" My phone buzzed. I flinched, hoping it was them. But it was Daniel. "Where are you?" he asked. "At their house," I said. "What happened?" "They sent a letter," I said. My voice cracked. They cut me off. Legally. Completely. Like I never existed. It was a long pause. "Stay there," he said. "I'm coming." "I don't need." "Yes, you do." I hung up and sat on the porch steps. My fingers pressed against my forehead. My eyes burned, but I didn't cry. Not yet. I just sat there whispering, "I don't understand. I don't understand." By the time Daniel arrived, the sky was getting dark. His car screeched to a stop behind mine. He slammed the door and hurried toward me. "Where's the letter?" he asked. I handed it to him with numb fingers. He skimmed it, then looked at me like the ground had dropped out from under him. "They actually did this," he said. "Jesus, man." "I tried calling them," I said. "They won't pick up." He crouched in front of me. "Look at me." "I don't know why," I whispered. "Look at me," he repeated. I lifted my head. His hands gripped my shoulders. "Breathe. I feel like I'm disappearing," I said. "Like they erased me from their life with one stupid document." "They don't get to decide your worth," he said. "Not like this." I shook my head. What kind of parents do something like this? The kind who don't deserve you. I swallowed hard. My voice barely came out. "I feel like a ghost." Daniel pulled me into a tight hug. "You're not a ghost," he said. "I see you. I'm here, and we're going to figure this out. Together." For the first time that day, I let myself breathe. And I realized he wasn't just trying to calm me down. He was terrified too. I spent the next morning pacing my apartment, reading the letter again and again until the words blurred, and finally I said out loud, "Someone has to tell me what's going on." Daniel told me to talk to my Uncle Peter, so I drove to his place and knocked. When he opened the door, he looked at me like he already knew why I was there. "Can we talk?" I asked. He stepped aside, and I walked in trying not to shake. "I need answers," I said. My parents cut me off. Completely. Why? His shoulders dropped like he'd been carrying this weight for years. "I hope they'd never do it," he said. But I'm not surprised. The way he said it made my stomach twist in that moment. "What do you mean you're not surprised?" I asked. Peter rubbed his face. "They never wanted kids," he said. I froze. "What?" He nodded slowly. "They told the family years ago. You were an obligation." I felt heat rush to my ears. "They never said anything to me." "They wouldn't," he said. "They cared too much about appearances." I sank into his couch, gripping my hands together. "So everyone knew but me?" I asked. He hesitated. "Most of us did," he said. Your parents like looking polished. Having a son made them seem normal. My throat tightened. So I was a prop? He flinched. I didn't say that. You didn't have to, I whispered. You basically did. Why didn't anyone tell me? I asked. Peter sighed. Because it wasn't our place. And because we hoped they'd change. But they never did. I stared at the floor. I thought they loved me. Even if they were strict, I thought there was something there. They're complicated people, he said. Complicated, I repeated, isn't the word I'd use. He looked away like he couldn't stand seeing my face. I'm sorry, he said. I should have been there more. I shook my head. It's not your fault. I just can't believe they kept me only because it looked good. He whispered, they only kept you around because it looked good. Hearing it out loud felt like something sharp sliding straight through my chest. I stood up because sitting felt impossible. I need to go, I said. Peter reached for my arm, but I stepped back. I'm not angry at you, I said. I just need space. He nodded softly. If you need anything, call me. I walked out before I broke down in front of him. The cold air outside hit me like a slap. Daniel was waiting in his car when I reached the street. He rolled down the window. You okay? He asked. I laughed once, sharp and ugly. Not even close. I got in, and he didn't start the engine. What did he say? He asked. Everything, I whispered. Things I wish I never heard. He sighed. I'm here. Whatever you need. I leaned back and covered my face with my hands. Why didn't they tell me sooner? I asked. Daniel didn't hesitate. Because they're cowards. I lowered my hands. Then why did they wait until now to erase me? He didn't answer. He just looked at me, and I could see the fear in his eyes. Fear for me, not of me. He finally started the car, but he didn't drive right away. We'll figure this out, he said. I nodded, though everything inside me felt cracked. As we pulled away from the curb, I stared out the window and whispered the question that kept echoing in my mind. Then why did they wait until now to erase me? And the silence that followed was louder than anything. I was scrolling through my phone the next morning, trying to distract myself, when a photo stopped me cold. It was on the church's community page, my parents standing beside a young woman I'd never seen before. They were hugging her, smiling. My mother's hand was on her shoulder like she owned her. My father looked proud. I whispered, "Who the hell is she?" Daniel leaned over my shoulder. "Who is that?" he asked. "That's what I'm trying to figure out," I said. I zoomed in on the caption. "Her name's Claire. She's a college student. Something about a charity program." Daniel frowned. "Your parents don't even like charity events." "Exactly," I said. "Why would they be all over this girl?" He looked at the picture again. "They look happy." "Yeah," I muttered. "Very happy." My chest tightened. "Let me check something." I opened more photos from the church page. There she was again, sitting between my parents at a dinner table, holding a gift bag from them, standing in front of my childhood home with my father's hand on her back. Daniel whispered, "Dude." I swallowed hard. "They replaced me." He grabbed my wrist. "You don't know that." "Yes, I do." I shoved the phone into my pocket. "I'm going to see Harding." "Right now?" he asked. "Yes, right now." I drove straight to Harding and Cole, and Daniel followed in his car. When I walked into the office, the receptionist looked up with a tight smile. "Do you have an appointment?" "No," I said, "but I need to speak to Mr. Harding." Daniel touched my arm. "Breathe." "I am breathing," I snapped. A moment later, Harding stepped out of his office. "Oh, you're back." "I have questions," I said, "and I want answers." He sighed. "Come in." The moment the door closed, I held up my phone. "Who is she?" He adjusted his glasses. "Claire? She's someone your parents care about." I clenched my fists. "Care about? They don't even care about me." Harding cleared his throat. "Your parents have chosen to sponsor her education and future." "Sponsor?" I repeated. "Is that what we're calling this?" "They've been very generous with her," he continued. "Legally speaking, she has been granted certain rights." "What rights?" I asked. He paused too long. "What rights?" I repeated, louder. "Access to the house," he said finally. "Some assets. Certain heirlooms." I felt my head spin. "Heirlooms? You mean things from my grandparents?" "Yes," he said, "and additional property considerations." "So they gave her my life," I said quietly. Harding shifted in his chair. "Your parents have made their decision." "No explanation?" I asked. No reason why they cut me out and handed everything to a stranger. I'm not authorized to discuss their personal motivations. I laughed bitterly. Of course you're not. I stood up. Do they even know I'm here? I'm sure they will when I file the updates. Good, I said. Maybe they'll finally look me in the eye. When I walked out, Daniel was waiting in the hallway. What happened? They gave everything to her, I said. Everything. He blinked. Everything. House access. Heirlooms. Money. All of it. Daniel muttered a curse under his breath. Why would they do that? I don't know, I said. But I can't breathe. He grabbed my shoulders. Hey, slow down. I can't, I said. It feels like I died and they just replaced me with a better model. You're not dead, he said. You're right here. No, I whispered. I don't feel here. He pulled me into a hug, but I barely felt it. My mind was spinning with images of Claire sitting in my seat at the dinner table, walking through the halls of the home I grew up in, holding things that belonged to my grandparents. Daniel stepped back. Tell me what you want to do. I don't know, I said. I just know I can't let this be the end. He nodded. Then we'll keep going. But even as he said it, all I could think about was that photo, my parents' smiles, bright and warm, like they'd been saving them for someone who wasn't me. I spent 3 nights staring at my ceiling, barely blinking. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Claire standing in my childhood home, opening drawers that used to be mine, smiling the way my parents never smiled at me. On the 4th night, Daniel found me sitting at my kitchen table at 3 in the morning. He walked in without knocking. You're doing it again. I didn't look up. Doing what? Blaming yourself, he said. I can see it all over your face. I'm just thinking, I muttered. Thinking isn't the problem. It's the kind of thinking. He sat across from me. Say it. I shook my head. No. Say it, he repeated. I whispered, what if I really was the problem? He slammed his palm on the table. Stop. Don't say that again. I winced. Why does it matter to you? Because it's not true, he said. You're acting like you drove them away. Maybe I did, I said. Maybe I disappointed them. Maybe they expected more. Daniel leaned forward. Your parents didn't replace you because you disappointed them. They replaced you because something is seriously wrong with them. I swallowed. You didn't hear Harding. They handed over everything. Who does that unless the original kid isn't worth keeping? Parents who never should have been parents, he said. Look at me. I looked. You had to fight back, he said. Not for revenge. For clarity. For yourself. I don't know how to fight them. I whispered. I don't even know what I'm fighting. Then let's find out. I rubbed my eyes. Ow! He sighed, hesitated, then said, there's someone you can hire. I frowned. A lawyer? A private investigator. I sat up straighter. Daniel, no. Yes, he said. You want answers? This is how you get them. That's extreme. Extreme. He laughed bitterly. Your parents erased you from your own life. I think we passed extreme a long time ago. I leaned back in the chair. What if I find out something I can't come back from? Then at least you know the truth, he said. You deserve that. The word deserve hit something raw inside me. I'm scared, I admitted quietly. Daniel softened. I know, but you're not alone. I stared at the table. Who's the investigator? Lena Navarro, he said. A friend of a friend. Doesn't sugarcoat anything. I exhaled shakily. That's what I'm afraid of. He reached for his phone. Should I call her? I hesitated for a long moment. Call her. He dialed. Hey, Lena. It's Daniel. Yeah, it's been a while. Listen, I have someone who needs your help. No, not like that. It's complicated. He handed me the phone. She wants to hear it from you. I pressed it to my ear. Hello. A woman's voice, low and calm, said, Tell me what's going on. My voice cracked. I think my parents replaced me. There was no pause. Explain. I told her everything. Not the emotions, that would have taken hours, but the facts. The will. Claire. The photos. The assets. Harding's evasive answers. Lena didn't interrupt once. When I finished, the line was silent for 3 seconds. Then she said, I'll meet you tomorrow morning. Tomorrow? I asked. You want answers, don't you? Yes, I whispered. Then tomorrow. We met her at a quiet cafe on the edge of town. She was sharp-eyed, dark-haired, and carried herself like she'd already solved 3 problems before walking through the door. She sat down without pleasantries. All right, she said. Show me the pictures. I passed her my phone. She studied each image with a focus that made my skin prickle. Daniel asked, "What do you think?" "I think your parents aren't being honest," she said. I let out a humorless laugh. "No kidding. Not just with you," she added. I froze. "What does that mean?" Lena looked at me directly. "You're not the only one they lied to." Something cold slid down my spine. Lied to who else? She tapped the last photo, Claire holding a wrapped gift. "There's something ugly under all of this," she said. "And if you want the truth, you need to be ready for what we find." My throat tightened. "Ready or not," I whispered, "I guess we're doing this." Lena nodded once. "Good." Then we started digging. When Lena called me 2 days later, her voice carried a weight that made my stomach twist. "We need to meet," she said. "Is it bad?" I asked. "It's the truth," she replied. "And it's messy." Daniel drove me to her office. I kept my eyes on my hands the whole ride. When we stepped inside, Lena closed the blinds and sat across from us. "All right," she said. "Let's start with Claire." My throat tightened. "Okay. She didn't show up in your parents' lives by accident," Lena said. "They selected her." "Selected?" I repeated. "Like auditioned?" "In a way, yes." Daniel leaned forward. "For what?" Lena's expression didn't change. "For the image they wanted to project. A kind, grateful college student. Someone they could mold. Someone who looked good in pictures." I felt my breath catch. "So, they didn't want her, they wanted the idea of her. They wanted control," Lena said. And Claire agreed because they promised her money. I blinked. Money. A future inheritance. Monthly stipends. Gifts. In exchange for loyalty. My voice cracked. "So everything, every smile, every hug, was part of the deal?" "Yes." I laughed, but it came out broken. "Wow. So I didn't just get replaced. I got outbid." Daniel's jaw tightened. "This is sick." "It gets worse," Lena said. I shook my head. "Of course it does. Your parents didn't tell Claire the whole truth either," she said. "They didn't tell her they were cutting you out completely. They made it sound like the three of you would coexist. But once Claire was in place, they started rewriting the narrative." I swallowed hard. "What narrative?" "That you were difficult," she said. "Ungrateful. Emotionally unstable. They told people they tried everything, but you pulled away." My chest burned. "I never pulled away." "I know," Lena said softly. Daniel reached for my hand under the table. "Hey, breathe." I nodded, but the room felt too small. "So they lied to her, and to their friends, and to me. And now it's catching up to them," Lena said. I lifted my head. "What do you mean?" "There are rumors spreading in their community. Questions about where certain funds went. People they borrowed money from. Donations that weren't properly recorded." My eyebrows shot up. "You're kidding." "No," she said. "Your parents built their reputation on being generous pillars of the community. But generosity on paper and generosity in practice aren't the same thing." Daniel whistled under his breath. "So the perfect couple wasn't perfect at all. They're panicking," Lena said, "trying to do damage control." "And Claire?" I asked. "She's confused," Lena replied. "She didn't sign up for a scandal. She wanted stability. Not this." I stared at the floor. I didn't lift a finger. "You didn't need to," she said. "The truth is loud on its own." Daniel squeezed my shoulder. "See? You're not cursed. They just built their lives on lies." I let out a shaky breath. "Then why do I still feel like I lost something?" "Because you did," Daniel said. "You lost the parents you thought you had." That hit harder than anything Lena said. I rubbed my eyes. "I'm trying to rebuild." "I really am." "I can see that," Daniel said gently. "But it still hurts," I whispered. "It's supposed to," he said. "You're grieving what you deserved but never got." Lena folded her hands. "And while you work through that, I'll keep digging. There's still more they're hiding." My stomach flipped. "More?" "Yes," she said. "And when it surfaces, the fallout won't be small." I wasn't sure whether to feel relieved or terrified. "What happens to them?" I asked. Lena stood and handed me a folder. "They're about to lose everything." The words echoed in my head long after we left her office. "Everything." Lena called me early in the morning. Her voice sounded almost amused. "They're falling apart faster than I predicted," she said. I sat up in bed. "How bad is it?" "Bad enough that Mr. Harding reached out again," she replied. "He wants to meet." I snorted. "Of course he does. Daniel, half asleep on my couch, mumbled, "If that man shows up here again, I'm throwing him into the bushes." I sighed. "What did he say?" Lena lowered her voice. "Your parents want to know if you're willing to help them recover." Their words. I laughed, sharp and humorless. "Help them? Help them?" Lena didn't interrupt. I rubbed my face. "They cut me off. They erased me. They replaced me. And now that everything's going to hell, they want me back." "That's the summary," she said. Daniel sat up. "You better not go alone." "I won't," I said. "But I want answers." Lena responded, "Then call him. Make them say it themselves." I hesitated, then dialed Mr. Harding. He answered immediately. "Thank you for returning my call," he said. "Get to the point," I muttered. "Your parents are facing complications," he said. "Financial strain, legal pressure, emotional distress." I almost smiled. "You mean consequences?" A long pause followed. "They hoped," he continued, "that you might offer support. A gesture of goodwill." "Goodwill," I repeated. "That's funny. They're asking for a chance to reconnect," he added. "No," I said. "They're asking for money." He didn't deny it. Daniel whispered, "Put it on speaker. I want to hear this clown." I switched it on. Mr. Harding cleared his throat. "Your parents regret how things unfolded." I laughed again, louder. "They didn't regret anything when they erased me." "I understand your frustration." "No, you don't," I snapped. "But I want to talk to my father. Directly." He hesitated. "He's available." "Good," I said. "Put him on." A click, then silence, then a breath I knew too well. "Hello," my father said. My chest tightened, but anger held me together. "Now I want to talk." He stayed quiet. I pushed harder. "Say something." "We misjudged the situation," he said. I closed my eyes. "That's not an apology." "We didn't expect things to spiral this way," he added. "There it is," I whispered. "You only call because you need something." "That's not." "Yes, it is," I said. "You didn't call after cutting me off. You didn't call after replacing me. You didn't call after lying about me to everyone you know. But now that your world is on fire, suddenly I matter." He breathed heavily through the phone. "It's complicated." "No," I said. "It's simple. You want my help." He didn't answer. Daniel shook his head at me, mouthing, "Unbelievable." I tightened my grip on the phone. "All my life, you stayed silent." Every time she yelled at me. Every time she told me I was a burden. Every time I begged you to say something. "You never did." He whispered, "You don't understand." "I understand more than you think." I cut in. "You didn't want me then. You don't want me now. You want what I can give you." He didn't defend himself. That silence, the same silence he used as punishment, as distance, as control, finally made sense. He had nothing real to say. He never did. I asked him why now. No answer. "Say it," I whispered. "Say why." Still nothing. Daniel muttered, "Coward." I swallowed the ache rising in my chest. "You know what hurts the most?" I used to blame myself. I thought I wasn't good enough for you. But now I see it wasn't me. It was you. He exhaled shakily. "We just need time." "You have my whole life," I said. "And you wasted it." Another silence. I nodded to myself. "I'm done." He said my name softly, almost pleading, but it was too late. "I'm done letting you use me," I whispered. Then I hung up. I stood outside their house, breathing hard as the cold morning air pressed against my face. Daniel asked, "You sure about this?" But I only nodded and walked up the path. When my mother opened the door, her eyes widened like she'd seen a ghost. She whispered, "Why are you here?" But I pushed past her without answering. My father waited in the living room, shoulders slumped, hands shaking, as if I were the one judging him. "Sit," he said, but I stayed standing. I said, "I'm not here to comfort you." My mother stepped closer and whispered, "We never wanted things to end like this." I looked at her and asked, "Then why did you make every choice that led us here?" Neither of them answered, and their silence felt like the same silence I grew up drowning in. I said, "I waited my whole life for you to love me, and you couldn't even try." My father whispered, "We made mistakes, but even that sounded rehearsed." I stepped closer. "Mistakes are forgetting a birthday. You didn't forget me. You removed me." My mother covered her mouth and cried, but it didn't look like guilt. It looked like fear. I said, "You're scared because the person you chose over me left you too." My father clenched his jaw. "We need help." I laughed. Of course you do. You always came to me only when you needed something. My mother grabbed my arm. Please, just listen. I pulled away. I did listen. For years. And all you ever told me was that I wasn't enough. My father said softly, "You're our son." I shook my head. Not when it mattered. Not when you gave everything I loved to someone else. He whispered, "We can fix this." I said, "You can't fix something you never built in the first place." My mother sobbed louder, but her tears only made the room feel colder. I whispered, "I'm not here to save you. I'm here to save myself." My father stepped toward me, but I held up a hand. "Don't," I said. "This is the first time I get to walk away on my own terms." My mother whispered, "Please don't leave us." I looked at her one last time. "You left me first." Then I walked out, and Daniel followed me without asking a question. When we reached the car, he asked, "You okay?" I said, "I don't feel happy. I don't feel angry. I just feel free." Daniel nodded. Freedom's a weird feeling at first. I leaned back in the seat. "What do I do now?" He smiled a little. "You start living for yourself." Over the next week, I focused on rebuilding my life. Small steps, slow breaths, quiet mornings. Daniel asked me every day, "How are you holding up?" And each time I answered a little steadier. When December came back around, I bought a tiny Christmas tree, barely 3 feet tall. Daniel laughed when he saw it. "That's the smallest tree I've ever seen." I shrugged. "It's mine. That's enough." We decorated it with cheap lights and one ornament I bought at a thrift store. As we stepped back, Daniel asked, "So, how does it feel?" I looked at the tiny glowing tree and whispered, "It feels like a beginning." Daniel sat beside me on the floor and said, "You know, you didn't just walk away from them today. You walked toward yourself." I smiled for the first time in weeks. Maybe that's enough for now. We ate cheap cookies and talked about nothing important, and for once my chest didn't feel heavy. Daniel nudged me. "You know you can make new traditions, right? Stuff that makes you feel safe." I nodded. "Yeah, I think I want that." I placed a small star on top of the tiny tree, even though it tilted sideways like it wasn't sure it belonged. Daniel said, "Crooked stars still shine, you know." I laughed quietly. "Guess I'm one of those then." He leaned his head back against the wall. "You deserve peace. You deserve a life that doesn't hurt." I whispered, "I'm trying." Daniel smiled. "Trying is enough. Healing starts there." I looked at the small room, the dim lights, the quiet safety around me, and said, "This feels different from every Christmas I ever had." Daniel asked, "Better?" I nodded slowly. "Better because it's mine. Better because I chose it." I sat beside the tree and whispered to myself, "This time, I choose myself," and the words felt like a promise I should have made years ago. Daniel placed a blanket over my shoulders and said, "You're not alone anymore. Not unless you want to be." I leaned into the warmth and whispered, "Thank you for staying," because for the first time in my life, someone actually had. As the lights flickered softly, I realized I didn't need their approval, their inheritance, or their name. I only needed this peace.